Hello and welcome to ENCORE, the arts and culture show here on France 24. I'm Jade Barker, great to have you with us. Coming up in today's programme. Sing-along saint as John Paul II is canonised this weekend. The extraordinary life of the former playwright has been set to music in several theatre shows in the Italian capital. Plus, a master of movement, American dancer and choreographer Carolyn Carlson has been lighting up stages around the world for decades. The self-dubbed visual poet joins me on set to talk about bringing her philosophy and spirituality to the stage. I'm delighted to welcome Carolyn to the show. Great to have you with us.
Hello.
Before we delve into your colourful career, we're going to take a look at a report about a rather different production to the types of work that you put on. This weekend, Pope Jean Paul II is being canonised, but many of you may not know much about the man prior to his papacy. However, if you're in Rome, you're in luck. 2 musicals dedicated to his life and times are currently being shown in the Italian capital, offering a rather unusual mix of piety and showbiz. Rochelle Harrison-Pless checks them out.
A song and dance tribute to the officially saintly John Paul II. Although it's a far cry from the showbiz sparkle of Broadway or the West End. The man born Karol Wojtyla is known to the world as the former head of the Catholic Church. But this musical traces his life as a young man in Poland prior to his papacy.
He
was an incredible man with an extraordinary inner strength who went through great pain, mourning, and war. But he found a way to turn these painful experiences into his strength.
Karol Wojtyla, the true story, explores John Paul II's passion for football and theatre, giving fans a chance to discover another side to the late pontiff.
I think this show brings out his approach as a man, even more than as a pope, because he already had these ideas when he was just a man. I hope the show catches on, because it really opens your heart.
And it's a full house as spectators, many of them priests and nuns, flock to this theatre in Rome. The musical is one of several productions devoted to John Paul II as he's given a sainthood. Be Not Afraid is another, named after one of his most famous phrases. Written and produced by a couple of priests, the show charts the highs and lows of John Paul II's life, delving into his teachings with the help of soaring pop tunes.
All of us, and for me as well, of course. He was like a father. I was born in 1978, exactly the year he was elected Pope, and he has accompanied my whole life until he died in 2005.
With official endorsement by the Vatican and even a blessing from Pope Francis, there are high hopes the current pontiff will attend.
All right, Carolyn, let's talk about your work now. Quite different from a Pope musical, like I said.
Yes.
You're a contemporary dance legend. You've been bringing your vision to the stage for 5 decades now. You currently have several shows on tour. One of them is called Dialogue with Rothko, which is a solo starring yourself. You began your career as a dancer and then moved into choreography. But what made you want to go from being on the stage to behind the scenes?
Well, I began with my master, Alwyn Nicolai, in New York. And I must say, Nicolai always allows us free interpretation, to improvise and to work with him. So I learned the tools of choreographing being with this great master. And I must say, I didn't all of a sudden dance and then change to choreography. I've choreographed all my life, the same as a dancer.
Working simultaneously in the both at the same time. I hope you don't mind me saying, but you're just turned 71 years old.
Yes.
And did you ever imagine that when you started out dancing in your 20s that you would still be dancing today?
I never asked this question. And I think I'm very blessed to still be able to perform. And it's curious that many people have asked me that, but I just keep going.
I know that you have strong Buddhist beliefs and that you
Yes.
think that age is just, in your head. Is this something that, that carries through in your work and you think,
Yes, I think it's interesting. Our work is timeless in a way because, of course, we're present every moment on stage. But there's a certain creativity and a poetry that keeps one's imagination and body moving.
All right, well, let's take a look now at your body moving. This is an excerpt from Dialogue with Rothko. Well, in that dance, you said you drew inspiration from the abstract expressionist Rothko, as the title may suggest. For your upcoming production, which is called Now, you say you were inspired by the writings of Gaston Bachelard and includes poems from greats like Rilke and Baudelaire. The last time you came on our show in 2012, you said you were a visual poet. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, all my works are based on poetry. I mean, I write, and I've always been interested in different poets. And that's why I love Gaston Bachelard, because he's always citing different poets in terms of the new space and time production we're working on. And I believe in my work, I like to call it visual poetry, as I said before, which I work not so much on emotions, but on perceptions. And now the big title is called Now, and it will be presented in Théâtre Chaillot, of which I'm an artist in residence now for 2 years. And this idea of now is going back to our present moments. And I like to work on this with different poets also, because I feel a lot in our lives now we're losing the presence. Our world is virtual, we're plugged into the internet and the telephone. But I think this idea of being present has a power that I would like to search.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out when it comes to the Paris stage in November. But you're American, as you can tell from your accent, but you've lived in France on and off for many, many years. You first came here in the 1970s to work with the Paris Opera, which, of course, is known as being very kind of classic dance. I read that your troupe was disdainfully known as those downstairs who were
absolutely
estranged from the dancers in the upstairs studios. Did you have to overcome a lot of skepticism?
That's very interesting, because when I look back, this was a revolution in France in the 70s. The grace of another great man who has followed me is Rolf Lieberman. And he invited me to come downstairs in the basement. And at this time, we didn't know we were creating this sort of revolution. And what was interesting, during the performances, there were boos and bravos. Go home, go away. And Rolf Lieberman came up afterwards and he says, "Darling, it's fantastic. Continue." But at this point, we were so believing in the work, which I still do, that this didn't phase us. But if people say boo and bravo at the same time, that means something is happening.
Yeah,
and it happened.
It's certainly proved successful.
Yes.
Let's take a quick look at you now dancing with your troupe at the Paris Opera in 1977. This is taken from the documentary Karma One. you're just saying how old that seems to you now.
The memories.
But you've created over 100 productions, and you really have played a key role in modernising contemporary dance here in Europe. When you look back, are there any that particularly stand out that you think that really changed the face of dance?
Well, I think there's two. When I first presented my work in Palais de Pape, Avignon, Ritual Porn Rêve-Mort, that put me on the map in France. And also Blue Lady. That this is one of my
That's
historic...
one of your best-known works.
Best-known works, solo, yes.
Okay. And just quickly, when you're asked to describe yourself, you often say that, above all, you're a tireless traveller and a nomad. What's the next adventure then?
Well, I tell you, people ask me how I work and create. I'm a shaman. I mean, I believe I'm a messenger, and I have a great gratitude for the universe to do what I do. But it's like ideas. I just open up my heart and my soul and my eyes, and messages come. So it's not only, I can't say I choreograph, I receive ideas from the universe.
Okay. Well, Carolyn Carlson, thanks so much for coming into France Enquête and opening off to us about your amazing work. That's all the time we have for today, I'm afraid. But thanks to you at home for tuning in as well. If you want to see some of Carolyn's dancers in the flesh, Dialogue with Rothko is touring this summer in Spain and Italy. And her new creation now starts here in Paris in November. We're going to leave you with some images of one of Carolyn's best-known productions, as we were saying before, the mythical Blue Lady Revisited, performed by Finnish dancer Tero Saarinen. Enjoy and see you for more culture soon.